Okay, so before we get into anything, I want to just clarify to you guys my stance on things and the title of this video, because I know the title is going to make it seem like I'm just out here to hate on Xenoblade 3 out of nowhere. That's not the case. I'm still very much so excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It is my most anticipated game of the year by far. I'm very excited to see what Monolith Soft brings to the table with this game. With that said, why am I not excited for the Xenoblade Direct on Wednesday? To put it succinctly, I am not excited because I don't want to be spoiled on shit. I just don't want to be spoiled on the game. And I feel like we've already gotten enough information about mechanics, about the game, about the world, that I don't need to know any more. And I'd rather be surprised than have a ton of information thrown at me about the game prior to its release that kind of, leaves me a little unexcited for the future of it, unexcited for the next month. With that said, let's get into it. So, yeah, Nintendo Direct, Xenoblade 3. It's going to be 20 minutes of Xenoblade 3 news, and I mean, it's cool, I guess. I do appreciate the fact that Nintendo is pushing this game as a kind of big release for them. They're really trying to push it to the mainstream and trying to get people's attention for the game. I think it's coming at a little bit of a backlash because you see a lot of people on the internet complaining about how, we need an actual Nintendo Direct, because usually around E3 time now they have a full Nintendo Direct focused on all of the games that are coming out, but we haven't gotten that yet. And now they see Xenoblade Direct and they're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous, Xenoblade, I hate it. Because, all people know about from Xenoblade right now is Mythra and Pyra and Smash, and that's about it. I am very happy that they're trying to get this in the eyes of as many people as possible, to get more people excited for the game and to understand more about what the game is about. But here's the thing, right? I feel like that first trailer they gave us all the way back a few months ago, we could have just gotten that trailer, and honestly, I would have been so happy up until the release. Like, that would have been enough for me. That trailer told us, I'm still a believer of the fact that that trailer gave us so much to go off of with giving us so little, and it was one of the best trailers, I think, in a video game's release in a really long time for me. You got to understand the nature of the two warring factions. Sure, you didn't even get to know the characters' names, but you got to connect their established roles to each other, who they are. You got this sense of an idea of where the conflict is brewing, and the world that was that this is set in. And it gave you so much to just go off of based on a 2-minute trailer where, there wasn't a whole lot to even to unpack in terms of content wise. They didn't really show gameplay, they didn't really show combat a whole lot, but at the same time there was so much to understand from that trailer and to unpack that, I mean, I made multiple videos on that one trailer, and I think it was great that they let my imagination run wild with how things could end up in the game. That way I could be surprised when either they subvert my expectations, or when the game comes out and there's even more to unveil and unpack, right? And I feel like we're at this point now where, they keep drip feeding information via social media accounts, Twitter, the Monolith Soft Direct website. A lot of these clips are going online, short, like 1-2 minute clips of combat, of gameplay, of cutscenes, things like that. And Nintendo's been, like, maybe once or twice a week posting character profiles and stuff like that on various characters within the game's world. I feel like we're getting at this point where they're giving us a little too much to go off of, where a lot of the information, at least that I'm seeing in regards to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, is definitely, I feel like I'm already getting a good understanding of what the first 40 or 50 hours of the game is going to be, and I don't like that. I don't really like that. I like to go into these experiences blind, with as much of a fresh perspective as possible. That way I have more motivation to keep going throughout the game, right? Like, And that's not to say, they haven't done similar things with other titles, like with Xenoblade 2. They did push the game a lot, they gave it a lot of attention. They had a direct a couple of months before its release too. But in that direct, they mainly just showed off gameplay and some story elements, and I didn't feel like there was a lot of spoiling going on. Well, I mean, there was. And honestly, there was a bit of spoiling in terms of events that happened throughout the game there. But like with this game in particular, it definitely feels like they're showing us a little more than I'm comfortable with. And I feel like that's a little disheartening, especially since I feel like Nintendo, with a lot of their big releases lately, have been doing a really good job of not doing that up until release. They've been doing a pretty good job of not showing us a whole lot of the game before it actually comes out. A good example of this is like Breath of the Wild, for example, right? Feel like there was so much to that game that they never showed in the pre-release and the promos, and I loved that when I played it. I loved having this exploration of all these different places and all of these different unique concepts and gameplay mechanics to go off of without having to worry about being spoiled about it prior to its release, right? Like, I know it's not directly Nintendo, but with the latest Pokemon game, Legends Arceus, they did a really good job of really not showing off a whole lot of what the game was about before they released it, which I thought was cool. They didn't even show off the final evolutions for the starters, or a lot of the Hisuian forms too before the release came out. That stuff leaked like a week before. They never showed that off, and that was super cool. I like that, developers have been adopting the less is more strategy and giving us teasers of things, sure, but not fully unloading 20-minute videos with tutorials on gameplay and completely long drawn out explanations of characters and blurbs of information about the world and the lore. Like, I want to understand that on my own, right? Because I already know there's going to be like a good 10-minute section where they describe how the fusion system is going to work with the characters fusing together. There's going to be this whole, like a big explanation on how combat and arts work in combat and stuff like that. And it's going to be completely like, oh, if you've ever played a Xenoblade game, you already know how this is going to go. But all the cool little tidbits and extra added on stuff is already going to be told to you right away. And then they're going to make some stupid offhanded comment about a character in the game that's like, oh, you should watch out for this guy. He's an interesting character. These are the leaders of this faction. He's a general of this area. Oh, he's an important character for this reason. It's like, I don't need to hear that shit. I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear people talking about things in the game that I could easily discover on my own, right? But yeah, so with that said, am I going to watch the Direct? Of course I'm going to watch it. I mean, I have to watch it. It's kind of in my... I'd be stupid for me to not watch it, because I make Xenoblade YouTube videos, right? Like, it's like, oh, well, why wouldn't I look up more info on the game? But I mean, personally, I wish that we didn't get a 20-minute Direct. I mean, I wish we got a 2-minute trailer again. That was it. Maybe like maybe like if they put it in a Direct and they gave us like 4 or 5 minutes of an overview of like the world and the game, I would much prefer that to a fully fledged 20-minute Nintendo Direct where they dissect all of these little things about the game and the world that I really would rather experience on my own day one. And I know no one's forcing me to watch it, right? I mean, I'm a fully autonomous human being. I can watch it on my own. But this is, again, like, I engage in social media all the time. I scroll through Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. And I guarantee you, no matter what, as long as I'm on the internet, I'm going to be spoiled about whatever they show off in that Direct. Because it's going to be all throughout my timeline. It's going to be all throughout all the posts I see online. And that's a little unfortunate. I really wish that, these things were kept under wraps, but hey, I can't really knock them for marketing the game when they want more people to experience what it's about. So in any case, I will see you guys Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'm going to live stream it or if I'm just going to post my reaction. It's going to be one of the two. I'm not entirely sure yet, but you'll see me Wednesday with a video on that. So cool. Thanks. See you later.